Alright, welcome back to the channel. Now that the Oldsmobile here is running and driving, I was kind of wondering what to do next with this car. Where do I go with this car? And then it dawned on me, one of the biggest car shows in Canada is happening right now this weekend in my hometown with more than 1,800 classic, custom, beautiful vehicles on display. So why not take Project Olds there and show them what a 78 Toronado XS is, because I doubt there's any other Tornados there, let alone a 78 XS. So we're going to bring all this rarity to the car show, and maybe we'll put a for sale sign on it and see if someone bites. And let's see what people think of this car in amongst all those classics. Alright, so in order to make this thing truly car show ready, we're going to end up putting all the trim back on that was in the trunk. And we've only got the one piece left for the passenger side wheel well. Whoop. And I've already added all the trim back to the lip of the trunk, and I've done the trim on the driver's side, which makes it look a lot better. And once we got the trim on, we're gonna get to these guys like this. Well, that's the wrong one. We're gonna go get some 3M double-sided tape and we're gonna smack those back on just to keep the car looking as complete as possible. Yeah, I didn't buy those. Again, that's expensive. So we're gonna trim her up, wash her up, and do our best impersonation of a car show quality vehicle, or at least a unique vehicle, because hey, when do you see this? And when do you see all that hood acre goodness, and when do you get to see a prominent front end like that? So trim it up and then we'll wash it up. So in order to put the trim on, you got to take your tire off so you have access to all the angles you need to drill holes, because this car's been repaired and there are no holes for the trim. So I got to make new holes, which means I got to clamp this in place, drill a pilot hole, and I'm going to use some self-tappers, small self-tappers, sheet metal screws if you will, to hold this in place. It's not the ideal screw. There should be a trim screw, but again, I'm not going to go buy trim screws for this. I'm just going to put it on with what I have. So, tire off. Not to knock over my screws. Put that out of the way. And then I'll get you in here and I'll show you kind of the process. So what I did on the other side is I got my trim more or less where I wanted to. Got a bunch of vice grips holding it in place. This one's a little worse off than the other side, but if you see, there's quite a gap in there. So what I might do is take the old dead blow and try and fix that gap. And eventually you'll get some of this gap taken out, but it's pretty beat up, so it is what it is. And remember, this whole part of the quarter panel was repaired, so who knows if that's really where the quarter panel should be in terms of shape, but it's looking pretty decent. And then from there, it's just a matter of lining up or pre-drilling and then putting in a self-tapper. So I think a little bit more adjustment might be needed down in here, and then I will start the drilling and self-tapping. So we just go in with our drill bit, do a nice little pilot hole, and then grab our self-tapper, drive her home. I'll continue to do the rest and I'll show you what it looks like. And there's one more piece of trim, the last piece of trim back on the car. This one was a lot worse for wear. You can see there a little bit of fitment issues, but it's on. So wash the car next and do some moldings. There's actually molding that goes in front of the wheel by the door and behind the wheel by the rear marker light. Okay, on to the moldings now. So if you're putting any kind of molding on a car, I highly recommend getting something that is good quality, double-sided tape adhesive. So this is a 3M, it's called Auto Advanced Super Strength Molding Tape. So this is going to guarantee that these don't pop off as I'm driving down the street to the car show, but they will allow them to be removed, so you can come in there with a razor or whatever and take these off, which somebody's going to want to do when they paint this. However, if I was to paint this, you never know, I won't put these moldings on. I'll take the rest of them off the car. But anyhow, get yourself a good quality, maybe even 3M or something comparable. I recommend 3M anyways. So all you got to do now to put the molding on, once you put your double-sided tape, you want to really push it down, make sure that it's going to stick, and get everything sorted out, line it up where you want it on the car. So you want to go in here now, maybe using your knife, and carefully separate the tape on the back side, like so. And then it's simply lining everything up. And then you got to put a lot of pressure on it. Pushing down on it like that for a few minutes. This stuff is really good. This will not come off. It'll actually take paint off in some cases, so be careful with it, but this is what's going to keep those moldings on the car. All right, and here's the finished product with the trim on and the moldings here. And the reason why, again, doing this is, well, maybe take a little bit of the attention off the bad paint job here, but also to make sure that people can see the car is complete. All those trim pieces and moldings and small bits and pieces are probably impossible to find in a junkyard somewhere. Are they aftermarket? Who knows? But at least people can see how complete the car is, which would make their decision a little bit easier whether they want to dive into a project like this. These can be bought. I didn't buy them. The other pieces, I had them. I think it's important though, just in terms of all these little trim pieces, emblems, for example. Who knows what's available in a junkyard, but now they don't have to go looking for this car. All right, so we're in a massive lineup now trying to get into the show. There are so many nice cars here. I kind of feel weird bringing this in, but the only Toronado, that's what we're going for. Well, I've been here for a while, sitting in traffic, waiting for our turn. We got to go into the right here, and then there's staging, and then we got to come back out or go around. But it's taking forever. There are so many cars at this show. I heard someone said there's double what was planned. You see a couple hot rods pulling in there. It's insane. And there seems to be something wrong with the Oldsmobile because it's high idling the entire time. So as soon as we get in, I gotta open the hood and check out that carburetor linkage. And the risk is overheating. Luckily, it's not too hot today, but overheating is a possibility. There wasn't a vehicle that did overheat just up here and had to push it off the road, or it broke down for some reason. So just gonna keep the car off, and hopefully we get into our staging area and then we get into our parking area soon. Wow, it just keeps going and going and going. So there's a lot of cars here today, all waiting for their chance, going into the staging area and waiting for their chance to park and then relax. Nice T-Bird right there, actually. It's like a, what is that? Early 60s T-Bird. I like that. Woo, all right, made it in the staging area. What an insane trip that was. Still haven't gone to the actual parking spot, but there are already hundreds and hundreds of cars here in staging. We'll be here for probably about a half an hour, they say. Oldsmobile didn't overheat, which is good. So many nice cars. Hundreds coming in still. So they're gonna take us row by row out to the show. Awesome. Just gonna do a little walk around here while we're waiting. Give you an idea of all the absolutely gorgeous vehicles here. Ooh, 4th gen. Look at that, when you see a nice Cavalier convertible. Beautiful. Used to love these things in high school, man. But anyhow, there are just cars galore waiting to go into the show here. Sneak past this beautiful thing here. Look at that, Corvettes. Got a GSX Buick over there. Volkswagen, modern Vet. Convertible GTOs, another, hey, there's like an 81 Camaro up there. This thing, sport truck Volkswagen, this is super cool. Mustangs, old 57 Chevys, 56s, 55s, 57s, 3rd gens, Viper truck. I think that guy lives near me. All sorts of stuff. All right, so we're now going to the parking area, wherever that may be. Or is it another staging area? I don't know. We're going around the pool here, following this Beaumont. Ford Falcon in front of that. Still high idling. I think, I don't know, I'm gonna have to look at the linkage and douse that down with some WD-40 or something like that. Might have got a little bit rusty there as she's sitting for a while, or it might be a return spring issue, but either way, it's amazing how this thing hasn't overheated. And I don't think she's going to. She's pretty good. She's pretty solid. Okay, so we just drove through this parking lot over here, and I thought that's where we were going to park, somewhere up next to these guys, but it appears we're not. So I think we're actually going to go up the street here into the downtown area, which is just up there. So we'll see. Okay, we're going right downtown with this thing. Look at a nice Cobra. All the way downtown here, so I better put the phone down because I might run into something nice. Something with an actual value to it compared to this old barn find. The old barn find Toro, though, is heading and almost parked into the biggest car show in Western Canada, maybe one of the biggest in Canada. Woo, all right, we've made it. We've parked. This is where we are for this amazing car show that's about to kick off here. Basically, almost right downtown, but in a better spot. Look at this. We got a similar car, Cadillac. Oldsmobile made a Toronado of that same year, but anyhow, lots of nice cars here. People are pouring in now. They're almost done, but if you look at all the tents and everything down there, we'll take a little bit of a walk around, but let's see what people think of the old Olds Toronado, the 78. I gotta say, there's probably no other Toronados in this show. Okay, well, it's raining, so we just did a mass exodus. Everybody with nice cars are leaving really quickly, so I decided, hey, I'm gonna follow the train out. Being here a long day, it's been a great day. A lot of people looked at the car, a lot of people are wondering what it was, a lot of people were wondering about the story. For their, you know, privacy, I didn't film a bunch of that, but it was pretty cool. I sat next to a group or a couple that had a nice old Cadillac Barrettes. We chatted about Oldsmobiles, Cadillacs, sort of how those cars shared a lot of the same parts, innovations. It was really cool. And now we're leaving, so a couple people doing burnouts here and there, and we're gonna see if we can find a spot to do a little bit of burnout to celebrate the day. Okay, we're on a side street, a little bit of rain on the ground. Can we do better than our last attempt at doing a burnout? Let's see if this thing will actually do a burnout now. Maybe not. All right, well, it still didn't do a burnout. A little bit of water on the ground. It's just weak. But I'm looking at the carburetor now that I'm home, and I'll show you what the problem is with the high idle. So as you can see, this right here, which is part of the choke assembly, I believe, as soon as I give it a rev, it wants to stay up. So as soon as I give the throttle a blip, this plunger shoots forward and high idles the car. So the simple solution will be unplugging it for now. And now that it's unplugged, and I can even go and idle that down, which I'll do. But anyways, we got that problem fixed. All right, well, that's going to be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. It was pretty cool taking an old car, an old beater, but rare beater, to a car show, getting a few of the reactions from people. A lot of people were measuring like this, the hood, and then going to that other 79 Cadillac Barrettes, which is a shorter version of the same car. The Toronado was on the same platform, so it went smaller like that Cadillac did, and comparing the different lengths of hoods. And there's a couple feet that they chopped off that newer 79 model Caddy. That was a total fluke that we paired up next to each other. It was really neat. People could compare between the two cars because they're very similar in a lot of ways. And a lot of gorgeous cars there for sure. And yeah, next video, who knows what's going to be. Maybe it's going to be Oldsmobile stuff. Maybe it's going to be something else. I do have a big repair to do on one of the cars here. So hopefully we'll get something going there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.